She actually contacted me recently to ask about, from a Canadian experience, can you recommend a good website or company for annual trip multi-location travel insurance? She was unable to find anything. Travel insurance is interesting. I want to break it into two categories. There's medical insurance, and then there's sort of like trip interruption insurance. The medical, and sometimes they're bundled together, but sometimes they're not. And so you want to be careful that you know what you're buying. If you're only getting trip interruption and you're expecting extended medical and it's not there, that could be a problem. So I used to book my medical coverage when I didn't have any third-party coverage in Canada. I would book it through my bank. And so, you know, for like a 2-week trip, it'd be less than $20. And if you were traveling multiple times over a period, there were economies of scale where, you know, you could get like a half year, a full year, you know, at a reduced rate. So if you have nothing and you need medical and just medical only, contact your bank and you see what their prices are. But that's where I would begin my search. The other half of this that I want to address is the sort of the trip cancellation, trip interruption insurance. I've never bought this in my life. And so take my voice as one of many. I'm not necessarily telling you what's right or wrong. But in my experience of, I think, fairly extensive travel, there's only one time that I kind of wish I had it, and that was our second cruise. We were flying to Miami to sail on the Breeze, and we were supposed to be taking a connection in Chicago. Sam had gone on ahead, so he made it just ahead of the snowstorm that came in, but then it shut down O'Hare, and so our flight was delayed by over 12 hours. So what was supposed to be leave in the morning, land in time for dinner, ended up being an overnight. And so we landed in the morning. We had a Hilton property, might have been a Hampton Inn, I'm not sure. This would have been late 2013. And so they were not able to refund it because of the conditions of the price with which I paid. It was a prepaid, non-refundable thing. That is the only time in all of my years of experience that I was out any amount of money because of this sort of stuff. Generally speaking, when something goes wrong, the companies that you've booked with, if they have any conception of customer service, they're going to do something to make it right one way or another. I mean, you've seen various videos, and we've talked about things on the podcast before. When we had the spa problem with Carnival, they ended up making it right eventually after we got on land. When we had the ant infestation at Tampa, at the Hampton Inn, Airport East, I think it was, you know, initially the experience wasn't great. They made it right later. The 2 or 3 cruises we've been on that have been diverted because, I think 3 or 4 actually, because of like weather, high wind, hurricane, whatever it was, they always made it right. They took us somewhere else. We got a discount on the next thing. We have had flights interrupted a couple of times. We were stuck one time in Minneapolis, St. Paul, with an airline that's actually defunct now. And after some serious complaining, they eventually made it right. We got a free hotel night. When there was a storm that, again, we were on the Paradise, Mike and I, coming back from Tampa, there had been a storm that had interrupted flights, again, passing through Chicago, that... we got the discounted hotel at cost. And then they, rebooked our flights for us at no cost. So generally speaking, if you have an open mind about your travel experience and you're flexible, then I personally have rarely saw the need. And to think about it this way, I was out one hotel booking in my entire life to date. If I had paid for trip insurance every single one of those times, I would still be down, I think. So I think I have come out ahead of the game. It is a risk, I admit, but I think by and large, if you know how to complain and you deal with reliable, trustworthy companies like Hilton and Carnival, who, it's not always perfect, but when it goes wrong, they make it right, then you can travel with some degree of confidence. So that's just my personal perspective. Take it as you will, but that's just sort of how I roll. Thanks for watching. If you could give us a like and a subscribe down below, that would be fantastic.